Blankenship.
And I'm your co-host, Art Staub.
Tonight's program is going to be, we're going to have an interview with the Chief of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, Trey Kelso. See what he has to say about that new position he has for this year. We're also going to talk about membership, and we're going to talk about our life members of our department. We just celebrated our 26th life members dinner, and we interviewed one of our members, Mike Sillner, and we have an interview with him. Then we'll talk a little bit about our safety tips and a few other items to discuss on the chart tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the new chief of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. He was our former deputy chief. He was elected by the membership in what I would call a landslide victory. And Chief Kelso, welcome to the top of the heap.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
When did you start in the fire department again?
I started at Laurel in 2002.
2002. So you've been there 11 years now.
Yes, sir.
And you went from probationary guy to top of the heap.
That's correct. I came in with some previous experience and advanced through the ranks, and here I am.
Okay. Now, as the chief of the department, what's your primary responsibility?
My primary responsibility is to ensure the operations run smoothly and membership and recruiting takes place, and that we serve the general public in a professional way.
Okay, and we talk operations, you make sure it is your responsibility to make sure apparatus gets on the street.
Absolutely.
Ambulance gets on the street.
Yes, sir.
And has gas and oil and all that stuff.
That's correct.
Okay. Name your deputy chiefs.
Okay.
So
my deputy chief is DJ Hall. My first assistant chief is Brad Lovell. My second assistant chief is Darren Grant.
Okay. And these are all guys who've been in the fire department for quite a while.
Yes, sir.
Assistant Chief Hall, or Deputy Chief Hall, was actually a career man with Baltimore City.
Yes, sir.
Chief Lovell was actually the former chief at one time.
That's correct.
Took a couple years off, relaxed, got over the stress of being the chief.
Absolutely.
And then stepped back into the ring. And then Darren Grant, who's the second generation of Grants in the Laurel Fire Department,
Yes.
was a former chief down at West Lanham Hills.
Correct.
And has moved back up here to Laurel to run out of his home.
And actually, an interesting note on that is Darren's son just joined the fire department, so we now have third generation.
We now have 3 generations of Grants. That's what progress.
Absolutely.
That'll give us another 25 years of active.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, Chief, we have an unpleasant issue to talk about, and it's unfortunate. Can you talk to us about the arson issues we have going in the city of Laurel right now?
Okay. What I can tell you is that there have been several events here within the greater Laurel area that have been, the cause has been arson. The cases are still under investigation. Some of those incidents obviously were the playground fires, and then there are a couple structure fires that are associated with that as well.
Okay. And these are being handled by the Prince George County Fire Marshal's Office?
Actually, correct, in conjunction with the Laurel Police Department, as well as some other agencies.
Okay. And I guess our point is we need all citizens of Laurel, people listening to this telecast here this evening, to, if they see, just like with the terrorism, they see anything suspicious, who we would like for them to call.
Actually, if they see anything suspicious, there is a phone number which we'll provide to you. They can also call the station and they can ask for me. I'll be more than happy to discuss with them. And again, you make a great point, is that anything suspicious, make the phone call. We'll address it accordingly.
Well, and we also want to encourage the younger people who use the multimedia, Facebook, tweet, or whatever. We're pretty certain that this is probably some people who are probably bragging about their events online, do you think?
It very well could
possibly.
Be. Yes.
If those kids pick up anything going through that medium, please, by all means, get a hold of the chief, get a hold of the police department here in the city of Laurel, get a hold of the Prince George County Fire Marshal's office. Can you give them what our email address would be, and we'll be ahead of the game?
Sure. The email address that we'll talk about actually a little bit later on in the show is cabletv@laurelvfd.org.
Okay. And direct your questions or information or scenarios or anything you think may be important to these events
Correct.
to the chief of the fire department. what is your estimate of what the dollar loss has been to all these events so far?
Total, I would say that and my figure may be off a little bit, but we're right about $500,000.
And that includes the two main parks here in the city of Laurel.
Correct.
Certainly Emancipation Park, Discovery Park, which when they built that park, the fire department participated
Absolutely.
in the construction of that. Plus, can we incorporate the fire we had down on Main Street then?
We don't know whether that's
Still
tied
under
to-
discussion at this
Correct,
time?
yeah.
Okay, okay. And certainly it seems like we have a lot of unusual events occurring
Correct.
here in Laurel.
Yes.
And, you know, arson is not a game. It is not a way of performing recreation. It's not a thing of fun. There's always a victim of arson.
That's correct.
People may not think of it, but every time that fire truck has to go out the door, we're wear and tearing on apparatus, we're wear and tearing on members, because they really can't go to these calls nonchalant like. They always have to respond to emergency. So everybody who's in front of them gets that momentary surprise when all of a sudden there's a fire truck coming up behind them fast and hard.
That's correct.
Okay. So I want to encourage everybody who has any idea what's going on, contact us. We need to stop this individual or this group of individuals and get them secured someplace where they can't do this anymore.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Right now, I should add that there's a $10,000 reward for information leading to the conviction of the individual or individuals that are associated with these events.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back to the fire department here.
Sure.
You have a budget to work with. How much would that be this year, you think?
The budget that we have for the fire department is right about $200,000.
Okay. And what will your responsibility of that budget be?
The responsibility for the budget really comes down to, again, maintenance of the apparatus, purchasing of equipment, needs of the fire department, called day-to-day needs such as toilet paper, paper towels.
Gotta have it.
I'm sorry?
Gotta have toilet paper.
Absolutely, sure do.
Corn cobs don't work anymore. You talked a bit about what is apparatus do we have now, and I think we're looking at some future endeavors in apparatus. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. Currently, we have 3 pumpers, so 3 fire engines. We have a tower, or some of you might know it as a truck, and we've got an ambulance. And then the county supplies a medic unit out of our station. Right now, this year, we're in the process of purchasing a brand new ambulance, so we'll now have 2 in the station. We're looking to actually sign the contract here before July. We should be able to take delivery between September and October. And we have an increase of EMS members, so this is coming in at the right time. We're also in an endeavor to purchase a new aerial device or a new ladder truck, tower, whatever it may be. Ours is past its prime, and
How old is that ladder truck now? It's been around
that ladder truck is just over 20 years old.
just over 20 years old, which for some departments is not very old, but for us, the
It's-
demand it gets.
Correct. And I should state that in the area in which we are, in the greater Laurel area, there's a lot of demand on our apparatus, and with the amount of calls that it does run, it's time for replacement. And that's
So
a
wild guess, what's the ladder truck going to cost us?
ladder truck will cost us right around $1 million, and a new ambulance will be about $250,000.
Okay. And so this is for an all-volunteer fire department.
That's correct.
So certainly we need some help with the financing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can always use help for finances.
Now the important question is, will the new ambulance be American France Red?
Actually, the way that we have, indeed it will be.
Okay, that's an important question.
The ambulance paint scheme will be similar to what we currently have.
Okay. Outstanding. That's the most important
Absolutely, tradition.
question. Absolutely. We have plans for our engine 103. What's the plans with that?
The plans for that, we're looking to actually turn that into what's known as a water supply unit. The water supply unit, there's only one other in the county, and that's down in Clinton. Laurel is famous for carrying large diameter hose, and what that means is for big fire, we're able to supply big water. Our pumpers have the capability of pumping 2,000 gallons a minute. So with that being said, the county has asked us continuously over a time frame if we'd be interested in creating a water supply. And we have fulfilled that, or we're going to fulfill that destiny. And with that, what that allows us to do is go down into other parts of the county or other counties and help them with issues where there are no hydrants, or you have a multi-alarm fire with multiple pieces and you need to kind of consolidate the water flow.
Okay, what diameter will that hose be?
That would be 5-inch.
5-inch line?
Yes, sir.
How many feet?
Minimum of 2,000 feet.
Okay, so almost a half a mile of 5-inch line. So it's
Correct.
like, basically it's going to be a water line on top of the street instead of in the ground.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Water main on top of the street, and I can tell you it's nothing new to Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. Most of our pumpers carry anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400 feet already.
Okay, so we could supply the world if we needed to. is that what we're
Absolutely,
saying?
sure
Once-
can.
Once we get to the bay?
And I think we proved that during the mulch fire back in 2011.
Absolutely. All right, membership. How many active members does the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department have now?
Operationally, I believe that they're right around 85.
Okay.
And that incorporates those that are around the station more than once a week and some that are just meeting basic requirements. We're always interested in having new folks. If you're interested in becoming a member and seeing what the fire department has to offer, you can email us at membership@laurelvfd.org. Again, that's membership@laurelvfd.org. Or you can go online and visit us on our website at laurelvfd.org, and you click on the membership link. There's a small form to fill out, and you click submit, and it'll go right to the membership committee.
All right. Quick idea what that process would be.
Okay.
far as
So once we get
applying.
your information, a member of the membership committee will reach out to you. We have an orientation that they'll invite you to. We explain a little bit about, actually a lot of it about how the department works, what our expectations of you are going to be. You fill out your application at that point in time. And with that being said, then the application goes to the county for processing. And what they do is they do your background check. They, make sure you are who you are. They run your fingerprints. And then once you clear the background check, you go into the next phase, which is you go get your physical. And you get issued your county ID number. Then you'd go through what's known as the volunteer recruit class. It's a 32-hour training session where you become a little bit more familiar with the operations of the Prince George's County Fire Department as a whole. And from there, you can register for your first classes and start your training with us at the fire department.
What would your two first main classes be?
First two main classes.
What are the hours of
Sure.
those?
You have your EMT, which is approximately 150 hours. And then you have Firefighter 1, which is right about the same, about 120 hours. And that doesn't mean that the EMS, if you just want to do EMS only, you only need to take EMT. All of our firefighters are cross-trained as both EMTs and firefighters.
Unless you want the option for just one or the other.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the minimum is you must be a minimum Firefighter 1 EMT to function in Prince George County,
That's correct.
Okay.
As an interior firefighter, yes.
All right, as an interior firefighter. Do we have enough members? Do you think? We have times where
Sure.
getting out is difficult.
Absolutely, we do. As with most volunteer organizations, we understand that with the change in the economy, as well as family demands, that you need to spend time with families first. I mean, and we need to
Yes.
make that clear. Is your family comes first. So with that, we definitely can use more members. We have grown quite a bit over the past couple years. We're not done growing by any means. There's always, I know there's a great deal of interest in the fire department. Right now, we're currently bringing in roughly 10 folks a month. And then again, the process, the application process, just so you're aware, can run anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And then after that, you're in training for a couple months after that, and while you're still participating at the fire department. And
Of our membership now, it's changed a lot. When Kat and I first got in, it was probably 98% male.
sure.
And it was probably 90% white male. What do you think our ratio is?
Okay. I guess
gender-wise and
gender-wise and ethnically, actually, it's a full mix. Right now, it's safe to say that we're about 30% female and 70% male.
Okay.
And we have all kinds of cultural backgrounds in our department.
we definitely from where we've changed from 25 years ago, we've become sort of, I would say, almost United Nations-wise, as we have quite a mix of ethnic backgrounds
Absolutely.
and cultural backgrounds
Correct.
and religious backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And certainly interesting because certainly the city of Laurel has changed that way as well from where it used to be 25 and 30 years ago when we first started riding.
Correct. And we represent that population quite well.
Have we had any issues as far as communications goes with any of the populations?
No, not at all. As
Okay.
a matter of fact, we continue to learn. They teach us, we teach them. If there are any cultural differences, as a matter of fact, we have a couple new members that have come over from Russia. They just moved here to the U.S. And they're in their citizenship application process, and they're great assets.
Now, are they going to stay with us, or
Absolutely.
are they
Yep.
going to move back to Russia
No,
once they
no,
get all
no,
this
no,
good
no.
American fireman training?
No, as a matter of fact, they moved over here, and they intend on staying over here.
All right. So we know about apparatus. We know about membership. We're doing pretty good there. What do you foresee? What's your objectives for the rest of the year at this time?
Well, when I came into office, the fire department is notorious for history repeating itself. And we want to keep some of the honor and tradition that goes along with the fire department that we've had at the Laurel VFD that may have gone by the wayside as we've grown and as time has gone on. So we're trying to bring a lot of that back. And with that, we're improving the structure of the fire department. And when I say structure, the command structure. We have 3 separate divisions. We have the training division, the maintenance division that's responsible for the maintenance of all of our apparatus, and the operations division, which is responsible for day-to-day operations of the department. And I rely on my chief officers to run those divisions, and they have selected officers that report to them. And with that, we're able to accomplish a great many tasks all at once.
Right, let me digress here. Once our members have completed the training, what's the minimum requirements they have to make?
Sure, absolutely. The minimum requirements of the department, as they stand right now, is about 30 hours a month. That includes your regular duty crews, your overnight time, as well as extra time around the station. That does not include, and I'll put the caveat, that does not include what time they need to take for training outside of the department. And when I say training, yes, you do training inside the department, specialized solely for Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, but the training classes in which you'll be taking that are a little bit more specialty, that give you that knowledge and skill set that you'll need out in the street.
Well, and certainly living in this area where we live, we can go through the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute for training.
Correct.
We can go to the National Fire Academy for training.
Absolutely.
We can go through Firehouse Expo for special training or additional kind of training. There's always a big EMS convention and social atmosphere
Correct.
that you can tend and get
We're very
advanced training.
We're very fortunate in this area. There's always training available and being offered, whether it's a private entity, whether it's the city of Laurel offering it, and as you mentioned, all of those venues. So again, folks that are members absolutely have a great deal of selection for their training.
Well, and if you're a 15, 16-year-old trying to think of what you do, we certainly have the University of Maryland, which has fire protection engineering. It has fire service administration. I know you have UMBC that has the paramedic training. Mm-hmm. Can you think of any other training classes? Does Montgomery still have a training program?
As a matter of fact, Montgomery does. They're a little bit more selective, but you also have training programs at Prince George's Community College, Howard Community College, and Arundel Community College. I believe they're also offered at Baltimore City Community College. So all the community colleges in the area offer training, and usually that's geared towards EMS. So you can do your EMT through there if you're already a student. You can do your intermediate as well as your paramedic. So you can climb the ranks while you're in school.
And just if you have a skill but you don't want to ride apparatus or EMS, perform EMS, what's that other position we can fall back on to where we can use somebody with special
Their
skills?
position, they're what's known as an administrative member, and those administrative members currently are helping the operational officers by, doing reports, producing reports, verifying information, entering records for us, as well as helping us organize some mass planning.
Strategic planning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So we can use anybody in the community that wants to be a productive citizen.
That's correct.
You don't have to ride apparatus if you don't want to, but you
sir.
certainly got plenty of apparatus to ride if you want to.
Absolutely.
And it's a place where we take a lot of people, put them together, and make one team.
That's correct. It's one big, as I like to call it, it's my one big happy dysfunctional family.
Not always dysfunctional,
No. I mean that in
but
humorous
it's a
sense.
challenging dysfunctional. Right?
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to do something to make it better.
Correct. And as a matter of fact, I call it my second family. It really is.
Okay. Well, Chief, I know we got another program we want to talk about here a little bit. Since we've gone into the EMS business, I would like to bring up, but we're going to have an open house on Saturday, May 18th. And it's going to run from noon to 3. We're going to have our ambulance on duty, come up meet our EMTs. We're going to have EMTs do blood pressure screening. It's free. Come by, visit,
Absolutely.
see the ambulance, see maybe what, do we have the specs on the new ambulance yet? Any idea what they would look
We'll
like?
have those finalized within the week.
And maybe we can get a diagram what it's going to look like.
Absolutely.
And,
Sure
and
can.
show that. And,
Yes.
All right. So
And with that,
Saturday,
I'll
May
say
18th.
that if you have any questions and you're interested in becoming a member, this would be a great opportunity for you to again, as Art mentioned, to meet some of our folks.
sure, we'll give you application. Glad to do it.
Absolutely, sure will.
All right. Well, Chief, thank you for
My
your time.
pleasure.
I know you got another meeting to go to with the county.
Yes.
So
Well,
good
thank you
luck
very
with
much
that
for having me.
endeavor. All
And we
right.
look forward to hearing from you.
Yes.
I'd like to thank Chief Kelso again for coming out tonight. Like I say, he is a busy man. He did talk about the membership a little bit, and he also talked about training. And training is a very big part of this job that we do. But I want to talk about a little bit right now about our membership as far as our life members. To be a life member of our department, you had to have 25 years of active service to be into this group of life members. Last year, we introduced 4 new guys into our membership of the life members, which is Jim Codespoke. We also call him Poodle. Todd Bayless, Carl Rushing, and Kevin Frost. These were the new ones that came in last year at our banquet last October. So it does take a lot, and all these gentlemen and everybody that's a life member put a lot of time into the fire service in Laurel to protect this community and the surroundings. And we just had Ed Ricks, who is a council person for the city of Laurel. Ed just the other night at our life members dinner received his gold watch for 50 years of service. So Ed, good job and keep it up. We also interviewed one of our members that came in about the same time I did in 1969. It was Mike Sellner. We have an interview with him that we'll show on the show here. Mike's been around for a long time. Mike's a past president. He's also a past officer of the department. Mike today is still very active in our department. He is on the board of trustees of our department. So Mike keeps pretty active with our department.
And his nickname is?
And his nickname is Great. Just about everybody in the fire service somehow or another does have a nickname. And if I'm not mistaken, my co-host here, he goes in for life membership this October for his 25 years. And we congratulate him on that. The other thing is our safety tip for this month. It's the summer months are here. It's time to cut the grass. Pay attention to what you're doing. Make sure that you have some kind of covers over your toes when you cut. You don't have no flip-flops or sandals or anything like that. The chance that you can take a slip and fall, your feet go down under the mower, and you have an issue. Also, gas grills are being used quite a bit in the summertime for cookouts and whatever. Remember, it has to be at least, if you're in a multi-family dwelling, like apartments, you can't have them on the balconies and stuff like that. And if you're in a townhouse or you're in the lower part of an apartment, it has to be at least 20 to 25 feet from the building. And the same thing at your house. If you're on the back of your deck, make sure that it is away from the walls and the distance. So if something did happen to this thing, it malfunctioned for whatever reason, it's not going to catch your house on fire. So again, please think about the safety. Make sure when you use your mowers or your gas grill that you review the operations of those pieces of equipment that you're going to be using.
And we're going to have a little contest, and this is strictly for probably the younger people. We have a question that I asked the chief about what color the apparatus for Laurel VFD is. And if you can watch it, remember what that color was, please write us at cableshow@laurelvfd.org and submit that answer to the chief, and we'll come up with a reward for the winner.
Okay, next month we're going to be doing our show at the Maryland State Farmers Association in Ocean City. We go there every year. I think this is the 118th or 19th, something like that.
It's well
up
over
in the-
100
up in the-
years.
Up in the top. But it's the annual convention of the Maryland State Farmers Association. So we'll be showing you some footage of the parade, some meetings and what goes on at the convention center. It's a good time. It's a nice place to take our families when we go. A lot of us use our vacation to go there at this time of the year.
Emphasize, yeah, and the convention is free.
Convention
If
is
you want to
free.
come down and see apparatus, you want to come down and see some of the finest people in the state of Maryland, come down and just walk in. There's no charge to look at the convention, no charge to look at apparatus. Ask questions. There'll be people down here who will want to teach you EMS and fire prevention ideas, and just stop and ask one of the firefighters or EMTs or paramedics down there a question. They'll always be glad to talk.
And we always have, different apparatus that's new out there for this year. The people that's purchased, they come down for show. Again, we have meetings. They have to have a meeting. They elect a new president at that time as well. But there's all kind of booths down there that you can purchase toys for the kids or T-shirts and stuff like that. So it's a real good time. And like Art said, it's free. If you're down that way, please feel free to join us. I think you'll really enjoy yourself. So this wraps it up for this month of the Laurel Fire Watch. Again, I'm your co-host, Richard Blankenship.
I'm your co-host, Art Stodden. Please remember, don't let the kids play with letters and matches.
Thank you. This is the 22nd Annual Life Members Dinner here at the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. As we're scanning through some of the people that are life members and their families. And then we have the chief and the two chiefs talking. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Art Stodden with the Fire Watch.
How's the flashcards? Here.
We're here this afternoon at the 22nd Annual Life Members Dinner of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department.
Actually, this is evening. This is cut. Sorry. Okay.
We are here at the 22nd Annual Life Members Dinner of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. Every year we have members who become what we call life members. They are members who have achieved 25 years of active service of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, which in today's time is a lot of demand on the individual, and also a lot of demand on that individual's family. I'm here with a senior member, a life member of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. And we're going to go by his fire department name, Grape. And we'll see how he got that name. His name is actually Mike Seller. All right. Grape, when did you join the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department?
Well, Rhino, which is your nickname.
Yes.
It was October 13th, 1969. And I'm approaching year 44.
Okay, you're 44.
And it has been a up and down kind of a career of being a volunteer with the different classes and incidents and the meetings and everybody who we've met throughout the years, it's kind of, I guess kind of like an evening like this is where we sit back and think about the good days, the good old days, and then the different firehouses.
The reality of
Yeah,
that.
oh, yeah, exactly right.
When you started, what was your initial fireman's training?
When I first joined, we had our basic, which was our basic training at the firehouse, which is to get all the apparatus. You had to know the apparatus, the different hose lays, to get to ride as a junior member. Once you went into what they called basic training, which was I think 60 hours through MIFRE, and we took our class at Burtonsville, and the instructor's name was Dale Seeley from Kensington. And we went through the entire smokehouse, burn room, the entire 60 hours of cleaning up. We had a couple of classes at Laurel, I think. Burtonsville, where a lot of them were, and we went down to College Park to the burn center. So we had a kind of pretty tough
At the Burn Training Center.
burn training center. Burn training
It's
center.
medical center, but the Burn Training Center at College Park. Yeah, that facility's been there quite a few years. What ranks have you attained, or what positions have you achieved in the fire department?
Well, I've been on both sides, administrative operations. Administrative has been recording secretary, both vice presidents and president. And probably the fun spots were on the operations side, because I had a lot of good chiefs working with. I was from sergeant, lieutenant, maybe up to captain. And the experiences I can tell you were probably the best of my experiences were being probably sergeant or lieutenant.
So you ride the front seat, but not nearly as much responsibility as places like that.
Well, it all depends who the chief was. Because if your chief knew what you could do, they would let you take command of an incident. But if there's ever any kind of a doubt, they're always there to come help you, if you need help. A lot of the guys back in we call it back in our time, you learn from actual experience. That's why we could actually learn to run a fire ground. Small, just room of content, something small, nothing really big. Multi-alarm maybe to come in and we take over and such. But that's how you learn after you learn it all.
That's how you learn to actually handle a fire as far as
Exactly right.
tactics and strategy.
Tactics, strategy, command, and that type of thing. So.
Now, what was your real job while you were a member of the fire department?
I worked for the post office. First off, I went to the Navy as soon as I got out of high school. Then I went to work for PG Hospital as a yard technician. I went to work for the post office for 40 years. Left there, went to the state of Maryland. With a couple different agencies until now. So met a lot of interesting people, done a lot of really neat things, and I'm looking forward to keep on chugging, keep on moving.
And I heard a story, I think my mother-in-law told me about you back. You had a job one time, back right there below where the mall, where the Everett Center is now. You worked, what was that, you worked at McDonald's there one
Yeah, I
time?
was with McDonald's, my boy Richard Grimes, Wayne Day. Of course, Richard has since left us, but we've had
And you worked there at McDonald's together?
we worked at McDonald's together.
Did you eat more than you sold?
Richard did. I was one of the cooks.
Oh, okay.
But it was, that
What
was
was he,
also,
French fry man?
he was a cook also.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of backup cook. He'd start cooking, then he'd get mad and yell at the boss, and I'd come back and kind of pick it up for him. But
Okay.
yeah, just, I have to say,
All right, McDonald's, what is there now?
it's the,
Is that where the Polo Chicken place is now?
yeah, it is, that's what they're called.
And what was before there? There was a place where you
Tasty
sit.
Freeze.
The who?
Tasty Freeze.
Tasty Freeze, that's
Tasty
what it was.
Freeze. That's
I
fries.
couldn't remember the Tasty Freeze.
Big T.
Robert Ricks for the test, the big test right there, big test right there was a big test.
So down was Tasty Freeze and now it's Polo Chicken.
Yep.
That's been quite a change there.
It's, the whole area is changing, you think
Well, in
about it.
those days, they were at 901 Montgomery Street, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and I understand how you used to cry when you drive by down Route 1 because they would come out Montgomery and go down. All you could do was smell the fumes as you went by.
Richard and I were working, speaking about that, and they think had a fire at Poist gas up in Route 1 up in North Laurel, and for us, we're working and there goes Bellsville's ladder truck. And we weren't too worried then. There comes Branchville's engine. Here comes truck 14 from Berlin Heights. And Richard was faking sick. I gotta go, I feel good, I feel good. We could see the smoke from where we were on Route 1. And, I think he got fired 3 times that day, I think. He always came back. Old Richard, I wish was here, loving to death. Sergeant Longsleeves.
Sergeant Longsleeves, that's right, here in Denver, I remember when you were here. What was the gear you wore back when you started?
3/4 boots.
Big long rubber boots come up to here,
Yep.
basically a big raincoat.
Black raincoat, I believe, and then we had our old little helmets. Black metal helmets.
Aluminum or steel?
They were aluminum.
Okay. The air packs, we talked about air packs the guys wearing nowadays. What kind of air pack did you wear?
I was the old, I'm trying to think, the old self-contained, I believe. It used to be the US MSAs. As a matter of fact, we used to have the ones that
With
were
the
in
long
boxes.
tube.
Yeah, he
Okay.
has to put them in the front, touch put the front.
Yeah.
I think, matter of fact, 3 or 4 of them they used to have in boxes on the apparatus, I think on 1 or 2, the old rubber truck.
Okay, okay. All right.
Of course, when you're like 16 years old, trying to put on an air bottle, it kind of weighs more than you do. You have to try to get your balance and carry everything in it.
Well, one who used to ride the horns, at least you could fit it in the bucket.
Oh yeah, well, that was something else too. A lot of the guys upstairs are asking me, what was it like when you guys went on the road back step? And I tell them the story many times with Black Cat, myself, and Toby, John Lazier, Mike Owens. We would ride the back step, and the 2 guys would hold hands. The 2 inside would get dressed, then we move around as they slid over. They say, a lot of people say it was kind of teach 4 guys going back and forth, but it was something like that. You had to have your timing down. And back in those days, everybody had each other's back.
So you more or less got dressed on the fire truck, even though that was obviously a safety violation nowadays.
Well, of course, yeah.
That was probably standard operating procedure.
We would have been fined and fired and locked up and everything else for sure. But I mean, back in those days, we would jump on the fire trucks as the truck was going out the door. And I think 1 or 2 times we even had to push a couple of them down the street to get them started. Old 102 or 104 had to stop, and we see 4 or 5 juniors on the back just push this big fire truck. They pop the clutch.
They were clutch driven apparatus, so you had to
Yep.
pop the clutch once in a while because it started wouldn't work or whatever.
Good times, man. I wouldn't give them up for the world.
Best fire you ever on?
Would have to be, of all the big ones that I've been on, I have to say that the best one was the one out of my parents' house.
Oh,
It was a small room of contents, but I caught a kid jumping out of the way. That was the best one. Nobody got hurt. But thinking about what all happened that day, and of course the house is sold down there now, so when we go down to visit, here's a window, there's the door to take out, and everything's fine. So
And Mike is always a hands-on kind of guy. Tell us about the story of how your kids came into the world.
well, I would imagine like everybody else's do. Alan was, he was born in October. He was born at Holy Cross. Both of my kids, everybody else's kids have always been involved with the fire service one way or another. And Miss Shannon was born at
This is your
Council.
daughter?
Yeah, this is the one we've been talking about. He just got her driver's license. She's going on prom already.
Oh, okay.
I've already had 4 or 5 pictures sent to me already. But she was born at home on a couch.
How did that go there?
Very quickly. Although I can tell you that it happened so fast. When my wife Barbara went into labor, I called Howard County 911. The lady's name was Charlotte Brown, the dispatcher, I think. And I told her who I was. You've always said, from the labor, this. And she's like, well, helps. We're sending an ambulance now to you. And she says, have you ever delivered a baby? I said, well, I've done 2, and it kind of helped on both of them. She says, well, Mr. Soner helps on your way.
Okay.
So I'm like, so you're saying it's kind of like John Wayne Tom, you're on your own? She kind of laughed and said, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. So, yeah, that was neat. As a matter of fact, when Shannon came out, she was delivered. Barbara asked, well, what's sex with the sex? And I looked at her and just sort of cried, I couldn't even say. But yeah, when she got that initial, couple little screams going on,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
all right. But the neat part about it too is after all this, of course, as soon as we got done, here comes the ambulance. Guys come out, knock on the door. Come on in, it's all over with. And they had kind of got me over to the steps. I was sitting there, and the guy says, "You want to cut the cord?" I said, "Would you give me a knife with a hand so I can lick this?" I said, you can do that part. They go right on with it. But it was neat though. Yeah, that's cool.
Wrap it up.
And she always reminds me that, you know, like, is this, yeah, okay, daddy's little girl, and, you know, you're right,
Yeah.
I'm wrong, you know, but, yeah, man, just starts college, graduates, a couple weeks, driver's license, prom.
So the man you want to decide in time of need is right there. Things get interesting.
All very interesting. You've had some interesting times, Blake.
Oh, we asked you the best fire. What's the worst fire you ever were?
Would have had to been the house fire on Montpelier Drive, 197. That's where we had a fatality on the
What year
devastating
was that?
Daughter.
19...
74?
70,
72.
yeah, 71, 72.
1972. So
It was in a winter.
we were up at Montgomery Street, 91 Montgomery, so we had to go all the way from Montgomery clear down in the Montpelier area.
In Montpelier.
of Laurel. So that's what, 3-4 miles of steady driving.
Yeah, oh
What
yeah.
time of day was it?
Early morning,
Early
so
morning.
a lot of traffic at
Not a lot of
hours.
traffic, but you still got a lot of truck to get down there.
And the houses, well, I forget what it was, but of course, it was a dentist and his daughter both perished. And
Double fatal fire.
I would say probably the worst part was after we got to go inside, you saw the outline on the sheets. And I mean, you know, things like that, that when you have a victim who's been burned, those things stick in your mind
Yes.
forever. And it's, I mean, even when John and Vic were hurt on 9th Street.
John McConnell
Vic Whipple.
and Vic Whipple.
Yeah, that's, I can still see that too. That was, they pulled a ladder back and it arced with his wires and we just stood there. But they made it, they're doing good. Vic's here tonight as our president.
I guess for the whole scenario, those gentlemen were members of the fire department, or still members of the fire department here. They were working at what? Main Street?
Main and Ninth.
Main and
And
Ninth.
the apartments on the, you know, the corner there.
Had thrown a ladder on the fire, were taking it back down, and they basically were electrocuted to death by power lines.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the quick action of the fire department members on the scene saved them long enough they could make it to, I guess, the day shock trauma. And both gentlemen alive, well, have kids,
Oh, yeah, as a matter of
and
fact,
doing well.
John's
son just had another baby,
That's
so.
right, he had a little boy. That was funny too, because I worked on John, CPR. And as big as he was, I picked him up once the ladder fell and he got the drop, picked him up by his pant, his belt buckle, and his shirt, and carried him to a level place, put him down, started working on him.
Okay.
And you're doing the thing, you're doing, come on, you know, all kind of stuff. And I remember somebody saying, great, he's moving, great, stop. They had to pull my arms up because I was working just to stay in pace and kind of keep him going. But going to the hospital, Steve, a few days later, he was up in the burn unit in Baltimore City, and he goes, hey man, come here. Took his shirt, opened it up, saw the big bruises. He said, thank you. But it was a lot of interesting times, man.
Like I say, you've probably seen more as a volunteer than probably a lot of career people have.
You know, I would have to say yes, you're exactly right. Yeah. Some of them you like to talk about, some of them you want to try to forget, but all in all that we've lived it, so it's...
Well, and as older guys, we've gotten to where we can't ride apparatus anymore, but I enjoy being on the board.
Well, yeah.
It's fun talking about the nuts and bolts and dimes and nickels of the fire department. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to correct some of our members who don't know how to behave properly, but most of it is pretty legitimate. We run a ton of financial ship here at the fire department.
We do, yes.
We hold ourselves financially accountable. What's your next move from here on out?
Well, it finally took me 43 years to get on the board, which is a feat in itself. Because
Well, it's hard. We've had good board members. It's hard to take somebody off and put somebody different on, but
I don't know. I'd somebody try for the board again. It's interesting. Everybody has their certain responsibilities and tasks that they do, and you hear a lot of interesting things at the meetings and all. But then again, do it for the betterment of the volunteers and for the community.
betterment of this fire department. That's our number one goal.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Michael, or Greg. So 44 years, so I've got another 15 to catch up to you, but I'll work on it.
God bless you.
All right.
Thanks. Justice Clark.
Where's Bob? Me, I'm gonna run through the crowd. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our 22nd, I believe it is, Joe, right? Vice Member's Dinner. So I just want to say welcome to everybody. I know we have some folks who have come from some distances. Maryland, Virginia, made their way up. In case we got to get over this out, Ted's ready to go, right? Matt's ready to go. Appreciate everybody coming out. And as you can see, there's 56 people here tonight. A lot of those are life members, so we covet that.
I too would like to welcome you to your 2013 Life Members Dinner. I'm honored to stand before you as the newly elected chief of the department. I hope you enjoyed your dinner. We're here obviously to honor you. And I would also like to say Happy National Firefighters Day. If you weren't aware, May 4th has now become Firefighters Day. So welcome home, and I hope you enjoy your company and the rest of the evening.
Litchfield, known as Halbert by Old Laurel residents and as Warren by others, was born April 4th, 1929 in Scotchtown, now the site of Scotchtown Elementary School. As a small child, his family moved to 228 9th Street. He was raised in the West End or Uptown section of Laurel. Does that still exist over there, Mayor? Is that what we still call that? The family then moved to a new home on Nichols Drive, where he and his wife